vorrei perdere. Parlerà in inglese molto velocemente. C'è un'app anche per questo, è l'app del Wired Fest, iOS, Android. Questo è il momento di scaricarla se volete sentirlo in italiano. La scaricate, tasto traduzione e la sentite con il vostro telefono direttamente in cuffia. Parliamo con David Shing di America Online, di identità digitali, cioè di come essere connessi, di come la tecnologia, il nostro rapporto con la tecnologia sta cambiando, influenzando la nostra identità, di come restare noi stessi, di come cambia la nostra identità. Sono probabilmente troppo pettinato per introdurlo, comunque siamo sul palco, è un piacere. David Shing.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Mauricio. Hi, guys. Okay, so a couple of things. I'm glad the Dyson fans are working because holy shit, it's hot in here, no? The second thing is I don't speak Italy. See how bad my Italian is? But I'm going to speak English pretty quickly, but it's more about ideas. And really, it's about identity. And that's what I think is phenomenal about Wired, Condé Nast, and some of the titles they have in their heritage. It's all about identity. You know, it's exciting today for me to speak to you because some of you are in our business world, some of you are consumers, so I'm going to talk both. But let's get on with identity. So here's the thing about it for me. There are three things that are massively important to us, and it's culture, it's code, all of these tents have code, and it's creativity. And all of that can be done with those two things, code and creativity and culture. And so here's what's interesting. This is culture. So some of you are too young to know what this is. You can Google this shit. Young lady back there with the overalls on, you're doing, I don't know what that is. That's a cassette player. That's what ruled, you know, bullshit. You can Google that later. So that's a cassette. Imagine having a brand called Walkman that has your ass kicked by iPod. But that's all about culture because by the time they went to digital, it didn't work. It was too late. But if you go the other way, you end up with Google Glass. I love Google, don't get me wrong. But this is an example of not the culture of people. If you want no friends here, walk around with this. I promise you, the park is yours. So this is an example of when you use technology the opposite way. This is surveillance technology. This isn't fun technology. Fun technology is spectacle, you know, by Snap. So that's more interesting in that side of the business. However, if you think about culture, and I was thinking about it this morning, think about the Medici family. These guys, I think, did the foundation of culture by the foundation of making art accessible. And that's a very important thing to understand today. So you have that in your heritage. But what you also have access to is what we used to do in the old school. So those of you who are old enough, this is called wingding. This is a font, and we used to use fonts for emojis. Look at that shit. But look where we are today. We've updated the emojis because if you think about it, the culture of expression is definitely about this sort of culture. In fact, the word of 2015 was this. Tears of joy emoji. It's not a word, it's an emoji. And what I think is amazing is that everybody that comes and speaks to me wants to know about the connected human. Who are these people that everybody wants to target? Who are these individuals that are meant to be really interesting? Is it this guy? How good is that? But what's fascinating for me is that one of those other ways is virtual reality. Now, you have an opportunity to experience an F1 McLaren. You have the ability to experience what it's like to fly here today, and I recommend you go experience it. Who here has tried VR? Oh, lots. Who here owns VR? Who owns the goggles? Of course you do, Mauricio. Shit, dude, of course you do. You're an editor. But here's what's amazing. Do you still wear them? Do you actually put them on your face? When?
Yesterday.
And how long did you have them on for?
Sorry?
How long were they on your face for?
Maybe an hour.
An hour? Shit, that is not normal. Most humans put them on for like 5 minutes and they're like, oh, I've had enough. But what we believe at AOL is that we're going to drive the need for that hardware by having these types of goggles. Because when you wear them, I promise you, you don't give a shit who's around you. You just care about the content. It's amazing what can happen. And by the way, VR, AR, IR, these things have not been around. They've been around in quite some time. It's now at a point where it's becoming exciting. Why? Today with VR is if you put the goggles on, when you watch a film and I watch a film together, if you laugh and I cry, the content can't change. It's a director's point of view. But when you put those goggles on, I promise you, you become the director of your own experiences. Out here, you become the director of your own flight path. You're going to be very lost, by the way, when you try that out, and you're going to look like a real interesting person. But what I do find fascinating is AR is really interesting. I prefer AR, the ability to do this, try makeup on without having to be in front of a mirror. It's amazing, and it's fast, and it's inexpensive, and it's shareable. But also, if you don't think it's real, go to China. They're building technology that's bringing the physical world alive using technology. And that's the interface layer between digital and physical. Sometimes, however, I prefer just when we use standard, good old experiences. Check this out.
This is the Jaguar F-Type simulator. It's just sitting on a 6-axis hydraulic platform here. Roll you around, lift up, down.
How rough are we getting that?
Once you're wearing this helmet, that's really going to simulate exactly what it's going to be like on the track.
Very cool.
Make sure you brace yourself. Good luck.
Okay, Glenn, I'm about to start the ride.
Welcome to Jaguar Virtual Simulator. A full sensory experience combined with so keep hold of the grab handles. Are you ready to experience the power of Jaguar F-Type?
And we all know what happens next. She shits herself. Obviously. Sometimes the experience of a brand is better than digital. And that's important because IoT is one of those things we need to connect with humans. The internet of emotions, the internet of everything. And there's many different ways we look at these. You know, they're amazing, beautiful, smart objects that you're wearing on your person. They're connected in your home. That's a sleep pattern moderator. That is a thing that monitors children sucking on a pacifier. This is an invisible button that does a lot of things in your house. Turn on your lights, turn on your music, close your garage door. All of these things without a phone. And then you've also got things that do what your phone and your keyboard normally does today with a screen. This is RFID ink. A temporary tattoo on your body that's a shortcut keyboard. So you could do things that you normally do with a screen and a keyboard, all happens now on your body. And what's fascinating is that one of those things on our bodies are wearables. Does anybody have a wearable on now? Of course, we're at a bloody tech show. What have you got there, brother? What's on your hand? What do you got? Oh, it's not on you. What do you want? Oh, it's an Apple Watch. Jesus, matchy. Anybody else got one on? What do you got? Fitbit? What do you got there, brother? Garmin? Samsung? Yay. Yeah, oh, Apple Watch fans. Fucking hell. Awesome. Anybody got one at home they don't have on now? So normally more hands go up because to adopt a new habit, you have to be prepared to break one. And they basically do the same thing your phone does. So we're trying to figure out what this category really means. And they're beautiful. You should have a look at Tag Heuer's. It's stunning technology. This is from Samsung Lab. You can't get this yet. But this allows you to take calls and listen to messages by holding your ear. So it uses your body as conductive listening technology. It's probably giving you cancer too, but whatever, dude. You can deal with that another time. You've also got this. This is a wearable called Pavlov. This wearable will shock you if you do something you said you're not going to do. So if you reach for that third beer tonight, that thing is just going to shock the shit out of you. So that's kind of interesting to think about. But there are 290 different wearables, and the number one category is fitness. But when I meet with those companies, none of them say they're in fitness or health. They say they're in the data business. That means they compete with Facebook, they compete with Google, and they compete with AOL. So that's really interesting to think about where we are. And they're all over our bodies, by the way. They're not just on our face and our wrist. They're everywhere else, including our cats and dogs. They're also in our garments like this.
Have you ever noticed that the world's most powerful men don't carry a wallet? In fact, have you ever seen them pay for anything? Well, now you can join them. Introducing the MJ Bale Power Suit. In collaboration with Heritage Bank and Visa PayWave, we've developed the technology to embed a contactless payment chip and antenna into the sleeve of a suit. So now you...
Crazy.
And is that far up there? Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. It's pretty sick,
If a player is tackled, then you get to feel the physical effect of that.
So you could sit in your living room now with sensor-plated technology in your garment and feel what it's like to be a footballer. You don't have to go to Disney World. You can do it in your living room. These are the things people are thinking about with brand as experience. This is interesting because it's really about visceral, how to be visceral. And here's another example of one. This is a 3D dress called the gaze. This will morph and change based on the person looking at you and your body language determining whether you want to attract or distract that person. How crazy. I don't think it makes that rattlesnake sound, but I could use that on the subway in New York, I can tell you. However, everything now has intelligence built in. You can be targeted when, where, what, why, and how. And as the wearable web takes off, as more screens are on our bodies, information sent to you is going to be redesigned in new ways. Because you've had cinema, and then we had TV, and then we had phones, and then you're tied to market on that. Good luck. And this is where it becomes interesting. Because for me, the business today of a brand with a consumer is about sight, sound, and motion. To do what? Create emotion. Why? 75% of purchase decisions are made emotionally, and then we sell to the head. And this is where it becomes interesting. This is what marketing does. It tells you about 4 Ps. This was invented in 1948. I don't believe this works. I believe it's about pedigree, partnerships, platforms, and performance. It's a different type of 4 Ps because life changed since I grew up in Australia. That's where I'm from, guys. I'm from Oz. That's the town I grew up in. That's my house. That's my family. I'm 10 kids. I'm one of 10. It's 12 people, 2-bedroom house, man. We have therapy we can talk about later, no doubt. But at 17, I bought my first car. And that's when I had freedom, independence, and self-expression. At 17. But today, kids are born connected. 37% of children under the age of 2 can operate swiping devices better than parents. And then you end up giving them analog, and they just think it's broken. We could watch this for half an hour. Forget the rest of the speech, right? Kids. But here's the deal. It's no longer about consumers consuming content. You are now the creator. You are the critic and the curator of experiences. I mean, very soon there's going to be an Interstar next door. It's going to be jammed with people because she is a creator and a critic and a curator of her own shit, which is amazing. Because at the end of the day, if they can take your brand with them, that's awesome. If they can take your brand with them, that's the influencer model because they believe they're this. Artists, stylers, bloggers, VJs, DJs, amplifiers, ambassadors, influencers, all wrapped up into one person that loves to do different things. However, the celebrity of self is a new thing. It's a new phenomenon because if you think about it, this is what we're talking about, man. We're talking about personal expression as a new form of entertainment. We're talking about a culture where people go to extremes to actually grab the most perfect image that represents them at that time. Like this shit. There are more people dying from extreme selfies and shark attacks. That's the second tallest building in Hong Kong, man. Amazing. So this is where we're at. We're at a place where I thought the younger generation, most of you, were this. But you're not. It's more social and in a different way. Because today, every brand can buy into the open social networking web. That's great. However, that's not where the network's going. I believe it's closing down. So I'm going to do this as a quick test. Who in here is on Instagram? Okay, you're all going to be next door in about 10 minutes. I get that. Keep your hand up if it's set to private. Okay, bunch of you with crocodile arms. I love this shit. If I speak to high school kids, 100% of the hands go up for Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp, WeChat. If I ask them if it's private, 100% of the hands stay up. Why? Because they want to close the network down. It's about interconnected networks because this is the new thing, in my opinion. The ability to message people directly and have a relationship. As brands, we try to market. And this is an example of Dior in WeChat selling that bag, limited edition bag, sold out in 48 hours. The cost of that, $4,200. So when you have a relationship with a brand inside a closed network, the value of that relationship goes through the roof. But what about values of people? We want to achieve happiness. We want to spend time with our family. We want to spend true to ourselves, and we want to be financially stable. These are all values of us as people. But it turns out that young adults are bored. Why? When I grew up, when the sun came up, my parents would boot me outside and say, don't come in until the sun goes down. That doesn't happen anymore because kids are born connected and they're bored. So they want to be entertained. 90% of kids want to be entertained, and that's an opportunity for us because it turns out that 75% of women under the age of 25 care about brands. And they care about them enough. It's not about price, it's about principles. And that's where we get it different, because it is about human expression, but not of the brand. The brand needs to be more human, but it can't be human because it's a brand, which means we want to consume it. So what about brands for a second? Let's talk about the celebrity of brand. The celebrity of brand is really interesting. It used to be big ads, little content. Now it's big content, little ads. But where I find this to be fascinating is that a lot of people today don't get that. They see the short road. They see it as, what can I do to be part of culture today that's not true to my brand? So they hijack things that are happening today, and they create memes that don't seem real. They don't see the long view. The long view is here. It's important to understand the DNA of why people give a shit about your brand, in my opinion. And there's the emotion curve. Too many brands go, how do I build up to a hot moment? And then boom, they crash. It's a sugar rush. They have to think about it over the long term. And that's the beauty of where we are. And design matters. Look at this. Look at these brands. These brands are designed in Comic Sans. Look at this. That's why Comic Sans. Woohoo! What a font. It's amazing to see what happens when we think about how design matters. Sound matters. Check this out. What brand is this? Thank you. Intel. Sound matters. So design, visual culture, yes, sound culture matters too. And that's important to think about where we are today. And look, one of those ways to do it is to reinvent and reinvent products. Look at Carlsberg beer. Carlsberg said the ingredients of our product makes a great shampoo, conditioner, and face tonic. They did a limited edition range of products that sold out. You've got this wine company in Germany that puts their wine in copper bottles. So as you lay it down, it patinas, it gets more beautiful with time. Just the principles of why winemaking was discovered. You've got this, Oreo. Oreo allow you to customize the packaging in colors, fonts, ideas. It's all about you customizing and owning that brand. You've got this, Coca-Cola in Vietnam. That's trash. But they changed the tops to be useful. Pencil sharpener, bubble blower, water pistol. So you've gone from trash to utility in physical design. And even hacking is important. Hacking like this, Snickers. So I love that brand. They went out and did a series of their packaging in the packaging design of their competitors. So when you go and buy your Bounty bar, it could be a Snicker bar, man, because they love to hack. Check this out.
In many countries, DHL has more locations, more vehicles, and more employees. That's why DHL is faster. However, to communicate this with a classic advertising campaign is expensive. So why couldn't the competitors advertise for DHL? For that purpose, giant packages were taped all over with thermoactive foil and cooled down below the freezing point. In this way, the competitors picked up a black package that transformed back at temperatures above freezing and delivered the message in the most beautiful...
How dope is that, right? Pretty amazing. But the culture that I'm talking about is also a culture of production. You all have the access to compete against people who are trying to take your brand with them if you give them permission. So we have to think about point of view of the brand, and production is important to do that because there are tools out there that you have access to do things differently. Look at this person. This guy just tied up his iPhone. He's put it in slow-mo, heads down the ski slope, and you end up with content you could have never scripted. You could have never have done this with drones. You could never have done this with a camera team. It's just willing to break a $700 phone. Sweet. I expect a few of you in the park to swing this shit around this afternoon. It's incredible what can happen. You've also got this. This is a drone that actually has no camera person. It records video by following what you set as the target. And you end up with video like this without a camera person. You know, in places like Asia, you've got 3-second cooking. Check this out.
エビフライです。3秒でできる作り方を紹介します。材料はエビ6尾。では移動します。これをつけてください。卵はあらかじめ溶いて入れます。小麦粉は入れすぎに注意してください。エビは丁寧にレーンに入れます。あとはボタンを押す。
And it goes on and on and on. It's pretty amazing to see what people are doing. I do think drones are best used for this, though, by the way. I'm quite bullish on drones, but I love that use of them. Look, and here's the deal, man. There are three things that brands need to understand. We're in a verbal world. We still like written communication. We definitely like visual, but we like all of that to be visceral. There's probably not one female I need to explain who makes these shoes. Look at the power of color. We've heard sound, we've seen visual. Look at these simple things that understand how brand identity come alive. Tribal brands. People still talk about Mac versus PC. I think this is about 13 years old. But it's hard to get tribal. You need to understand that you are the ones that control the brand today. You are the supporting actor. You are the one who allows people, brands, to actually exploit. And that's the power. Like Ray-Ban never advertise their glasses. They advertise the people that wear them, the legends. And that's the important thing about it. Whose brand is this? What's Nike? What's their tagline? Just do it. What about Reebok? No bloody idea. Good luck. You need to focus, and that's important too. You need to understand what the DNA of your brand is and why you're doing stuff, not just what and how. And that's where it becomes interesting. And get real, dude. This is what I recommend for brands. Look at Burger King. I don't know if this is real or fake. It doesn't matter. How good is this? Flame grilled. Amazing. And then McDonald's in Australia, where I'm from, one of the most identifiable brands. Nobody calls it McDonald's. They call the bloody thing Macca's. So they renamed restaurants on one day, Macca's for Australia Day. Incredible what can happen. Check this out. Depeche Mode have decided to give up their Facebook account for a year so they can go on tour and focus on music, and you, the fans, can control the content per day. Love that. The country of Sweden has said, you know what? Everybody's house.
Hi, my name is
on
Åke,
Airbnb.
and this is my home.
Let me explain that again. Sweden are a very transparent country. They've decided to list the entire country on Airbnb. So you're able to actually visit all of these places through a curated experience through Airbnb. It's amazing what happens when you're transparent. And here's where it gets interesting. If you be reactive and you're relevant and you're absolutely remarkable, that's where we stay being real. Those three things alone. And here's what's interesting. Your content does matter. It's interesting because there are two things we have. We have the ability for video to be everywhere. We know that, whether it's sponsored, whether it's powered, whether it's brought to you by, whether it's partnered with. There's different ways about content because we love it. And we love it because we want to be shown stuff. And it doesn't matter whether it's long or short, like this. This is short video. Look how beautiful this is. Well, how good is it? Watch it 10 times, it's so damn funny. But here's what's amazing. Storytelling is an important word in our industry, but it's more about the story, it's less about the telling. And if you get it right, you end up with something powerful like this.
Follow the night, can't stand the light. One day I'll fly away, leave all this to yesterday. What more can your love do for me? When will love be through with me? Why live life from dream to dream and dread the day when dreaming?
Now that is one of the largest retailers in the UK. It's a Christmas story brought to you by John Lewis. Now, here's what's fascinating about this particular experience. They're not showing any product. They sell to the heart to justify to the head. But if you remain transparent, you can end up with something as goofy as this. For many reasons, we can't play this in America. However, if you do remain transparent and you're open to the power of the internet, you could end up with something as cool as this. Crazy. It doesn't matter whether it's as polished as John Lewis, or it's spoofed like Joe did, or it's as subtle as UGC content. All the brand sentiment goes up at the right time, at the right place, for the right people. So whether you're a creator or whether you're a brand that's trying to get your brand engaged, remember, the reason why I love coming and speaking to people is this incredible quote by Catherine Hepburn. It keeps me inspired, which is, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the damn fun. And isn't that the reason you became creators to start off with? Thanks very much, Wired, for having me. You guys take care.